Hello and welcome to the transcription explanation of this design. It is set up to be 8 inches by 2 inches in this white square. Here is an 8 inch by 2 inch square with the minimum line thickness being 0.7 millimeters, which is the width of typical pencil lead, and that's a pretty good point for tattoos to start. Because if you imagine them first getting inked, they're going to be about the width of a pencil lead for your standard tip. And then as they age, you want to have at least double that space. So if these guys blur, it still stays pretty darn clear as far as where the circles and stuff go. But yeah, let's go ahead and read this design. So in the script, you start at the bottom and you go counterclockwise like a time traveler going back in time, and that's true for the words in the sentence as well as the letters in the words. And this is a linear design, and it's set up to be read left to right, and that's because if you imagine an infinitely large circle starting at the bottom of that and then going counterclockwise, we'll be going from the left to the right. And I also have this handy dandy little start marker that tells you start at the bottom of this circle and counterclockwise is this way. So we're going to start with this word and then this word, and then we're going to hit this word and this word. As far as sentence structure goes, because I did a little separation between time is and then an illusion, just because I wanted this and to fit nestled inside the S of the word illusion. This is kind of up here. If you were to start at the sentence circle right here, and go from bottom counterclockwise, I could see somebody trying to read this an after the word illusion, but that would be a rare case for somebody to not see it first because these two aren't connected. Because I like to have the next word connected with the next word, but I really couldn't do that with the word is being so little and then the word an over here. And I thought that was a better visual balance. Plus, it's still left to right, which is still a pretty intuitive way of reading a design. So that's my artistic liberty I took there of wanting an to be nestled with the word illusion. But yeah, other than that, it's very straightforward as far as which words you read in what order. But for the whole three little time is an illusion, I bundled them here. So let's go ahead and read them. Starting at the bottom of this word circle, we have a shallow divot. And a shallow divot's like somebody took a bite out of a cookie, and that in the grid above us is going to be in the third row. See how that third row starts at the left side with a shallow divot shape? That is the start of that letter stem, and the letter T in the first column has no lines or dots ending on it. So this shallow divot with no modifiers is the letter T. And then we have an I with a line going inwards, and then this full circle floating inside our word circle has 1, 2, 3 lines ending on it, and that makes it an M. And then our E is just on the line of our word circle, and that's the word time, T-I-M-E. This next word, yawn, is a full circle that has a little guy. So this little guy is a vowel. Vowels are all these smaller circles, and this little guy has a line inwards. And then there's a horseshoe. No, that's not a horseshoe. This is very clearly a shallow divot. A horseshoe is something like... are there any in this design? There are none. There are no deep divots. They're all shallow divots in that third row. And here's another one of that third row shallow divots. And it has this line here plus this line wrapping up into this line. So lines count where they end on a letter stem. And because this line, which I'm turning red, ends both here and here, it counts twice. So that's 2 lines from the curvy one, and then the third one from the one in the middle. So that's 3 lines on that S. And then we have this word circle. The A is at the bottom of it, and the A is just a tad closer to this word circle because of the divot taken out of this one. But this is the A at the start of this word circle, and then an N with 1 line on it, so that's an. And then we have this word, and starting at the bottom, we have our I first, and an I with a line going inwards. And then we have 3 dots on this double L, and a double letter is 2 circles, and it's the same thickness because it's the same letter twice. That's why we don't need a total of 6 dots. We're okay with just the 3 dots for the 1 L, and then it's the same thickness, so that means it's 2 L's twice. So double L, and then a U has a line going inwards. If this line were going up, a U has a line going outwards, away from the center of our word circle, because the center of the word circle is over here, and if this line were going out this way, it would be an I. And then we have another S, a shallow divot with 1, 2, 3 lines on it, an I with a line going inwards, an O inside our word circle, and an N. So that's illusion. And then we have a TH crossing our word circle with no modifiers. It's important that this is big enough to not look like an E, because this is an E vowel and this is a TH vowel. And something I artistically do is I leave the lines inside of our consonants that are crossing, so our fourth row consonants, but I erase the lines behind the vowels just to make them look just that little bit more different. And then we have an A outside our word circle, and then a T, a shallow divot with no lines ending on it. This line passing through it does not count because it passes through it, and lines count when they end on stuff. And then we have this word circle, bottom here, we have 1, 2, 3 lines on the M, the A outside of our word circle, 2 dots on the K, E, and then this S has 3 lines, that's makes. TH, again, crossing, no modifiers, I with a line going inwards, 1, 2, 3 lines on this NG, and this shallow divot has 1 line here, plus this curve, making 1, 2 more lines. So that would be 3 lines total. So things is that word, and then 1, 2, 3 lines on this M, A outside the word circle, 2 dots on the K, E, so that's make, 1, 2, 3 lines on the S, and then this is the E, this is the N, this is another S, 1, 2, 3 lines on it, and then there's an E. And then this is our period at the end of our sentence. Now, if this was punctuation that's going inside a word, that could be read as something after the S, so S period E and SE, but because there's no real good way to put this period, because typically sentence circles are in a circle, and you just put the period where it goes between the words, but because the sentence circle is so closely hugging our words, you just put it at the end of the line. So yeah, that is that design. Time is an illusion that makes things make sense. Hope you like it. Thanks. Bye.